If you would like to sponsor this or any other episode, why don't you check out our sponsorships page on dimecast.net. Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to take a look at how to create action filters in the ASP.NET MVC framework. In particular, we're going to learn how to create an action filter that will be used as my exception handling. An action filter is essentially a way to have code called prior to or post a controller action being called, and you implement it via attributes on top of the controller action. It's a pretty slick way, and I found it to be very useful in handling exceptions for me because I can have it do multiple things depending on what controller action is being called. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing you need to do is actually create a controller action that you're going to use. So I'm going to call mine the error handling controller action. And it's going to need to inherit off of action filter attribute. That is the base class that's built into the ASP.NET MVC. You'll see system web ASP or system web.mvc action filter. Now the action filter has four things that can fire or that you can trap for. Prior to a controller action, post a controller action, prior to the response or the request, and post the request. And the way you go about doing that is doing public override on action executed, which will fire post the controller action, on action executing, so prior to the controller action, on result executed, which will fire after the result is returned, and on result executing. So there's four different ways to actually trap for and write code for this. We're actually going to use the on action executed. We want this to fire after our controller action is executed. Now because we're going to want to check for exceptions, we're going to use the parameter passed in, which is the filter context. And the filter context actually will have an exception property on it. So we're going to want to do not equal to null. Now because we want to be good little citizens, we're going to actually, after we catch this, we're actually going to set the exception handled equal to true. This will allow anybody else later on downstream to know that this exception's already been taken care of, so maybe we don't want to log it again. Now because we're going to set this to true, we want to go ahead and add this condition to our try block, our if block. So we're going to say if it's not null and it hasn't been handled, go ahead and take care of something. Now what's nice is the filter context has a pointer to the HTTP context. This will actually give us access to the response object so we can redirect. Now I can put in any URL here. I can even tell it to end the response. For our demo here, we're actually going to put in a route to my maintenance controller. And this route here will actually fire off to my error page and allow my error handling to be displayed to the user. How do we actually wire this up to the controller? Well, it's pretty easy. Here's one here I've already wired up that has a different purpose. The purpose of this action filter is to actually do logging post the controller being called. So let's go ahead and wire ours up. We just basically find an IntelliSense, and there you go. Now this is wired up. Now let's go ahead and get this to throw an exception. We now have an exception ready to be thrown, and let's see if our action filter will take care of it. So let's go ahead and put a breakpoint there, put a breakpoint right here, and I'll actually fire this bad boy up. So when this loads up, we're going to want to click one link, and I should go straight into my action filter. So let's let this load real quick. Nothing more exciting than waiting for a web browser to load during a screencast, but hey, I can't control how fast the web server loads. So if I go ahead and click this link right here, you'll notice that my controller action is executed. I have not stepped in my filter, and I'm about to do a throw. You notice immediately I came into my on action executed. My exception property does have an exception. It has not been handled. So I should be able to step into this, and I've set the handle to true. And I'm going to go ahead and redirect. And my page, or my site will actually redirect to the correct action. And there you go. I have an error page being displayed to my user. I can control what's displayed on this error page in many different ways. And I've just taken care of all my exception handling. Now I could go a step further with this if I want and actually do it this way and take care of it this way in the Dimecast site itself. I actually have my action filter attribute have constructor parameters so I can tell it what to do with the given error type. For example, if it's a file not found error, maybe I want to display a given message, or if it's just a standard exception, maybe I want to display the oops, we did something wrong exception. Maybe I just simply want to log the exception and continue on. You can do that, and you can actually do that pretty easily. So there you go. What are we taking care of today? We've gone over what an action filter is. We've learned how to apply them. It's essentially an attribute. And one thing I haven't mentioned, but I'll do it right now, is you can actually tell it the order. So if I have multiple action filters here, I can say this one fires first, and this one fires next, and this one fires after that. That way you can have them fire in sequence. We learn how to create an action filter. It's essentially just inheriting off of the action filter attribute class that's included with the system.web.mbc namespace. And we've learned the 4 different actions that can actually be trapped, and we actually did use the action executed. So I hope you learned something today. I hope you found that this is pretty easy and you can take care of your exception handling pretty easily. Well, till next time.